Hello everyone, this is the Developing China. Welcome to our channel. Today, we will discuss a topic with you. Today, let's focus on the issue of China company MediaTek surpasses American company Qualcomm to become leading smartphone chipset vendor. This time I am going to talk about an issue which concerns everyone. MediaTek once again tops the mobile phone chip market. In the mobile phone chip market this year, MediaTek's performance is really very good. In general, when we talk about the chips that come inside our computers or smartphones, we tend to think of certain companies as well. AMD and Intel in the field of computers, for example, as well as MediaTek and Qualcomm in the field of mobile chips. MediaTek chips are produced in one of the most advanced manufacturing processes by another Taiwanese company called Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. Many people may be thinking, is Qualcomm losing to MediaTek? Why do users prefer MediaTek over Qualcomm? In the first quarter of 2021, MediaTek ranked first with a market share of 35%. An increase of 11% year-on-year, while Qualcomm ranked second with 29%. In the second quarter of 2021, MediaTek continued to rank first with a market share of 43%, while Qualcomm ranked second at 24%. Although it still ranked second, it has become farther and farther away from MediaTek. Under the relevant restrictions, some people are happy and some are worried. Especially for the Chinese market, Qualcomm's market share has gradually declined after being restricted from cooperation. Previously, as the only partner of domestic mobile phones, it has gradually stopped supplying Huawei's chip supply. Having lost their international reputation, domestic mobile phone manufacturers also understood that they cannot put eggs in one basket and began to seek chip suppliers other than Qualcomm. After years of technological precipitation, MediaTek has changed the image of low-end and mid-end in the minds of the Chinese people and began to gradually enter the mid and high-end chip market. It has seized the opportunity of Qualcomm blocked in the Chinese market and succeeded with the Dimensity 1000 chip. Capturing the heart of domestic mobile phones and successfully entering the 5G chip market, MediaTek has continued to increase its market share by virtue of the high cost-effectiveness of the chips, and has been ranked number one in global mobile phone chip shipments for several consecutive quarters. Entering the era of 5G mobile phones, MediaTek has returned to consumers' vision and has become the new king of the smartphone chip market. According to authoritative market research reports, MediaTek has become the smartphone chip manufacturer with the largest market share last year. Not only that, MediaTek is still expanding its market leadership. MediaTek continued to gain share and reached 35% share in Q1 2021. Share increased both in the LTE and 5G smartphones. MediaTek's revenue soars in the first quarter by almost 78%. Qualcomm took the second place with a share of 29%, which is 2% less than a year earlier. It is predictable that HiSilicon became the loser. Its share declined by 7% over the year, and by the results of the first quarter of this year, it controls 5% of the chip market. Apple has managed to get into the top three leaders, whose share is now 17% against 14% a year earlier. Speaking in numbers, in April 2020, MediaTek earned about $735 million, hence the increase was about $585 million. The company also made a separate income statement for the first quarter of 2021. Revenue from January to March amounted to approximately $5 billion. The first quarter of 2020 was not closed for the company so successfully in terms of revenue. Then MediaTek earned $2.9 billion. The increase will be more than 77.6%. Commenting on MediaTek's market share gain, it said that MediaTek's strong market share gain happened due to three reasons: strong performance in the mid-end smartphone price segment, $100 to $250, emerging markets like Latin America, the Middle East and Africa, the US ban on Huawei, and finally wins in leading original equipment manufacturers like Samsung, Xiaomi and Honor. The US sudden chip ban is one of the main reasons for MediaTek's gain. Recently, Counterpoint, a market research organization, released relevant data on the global smartphone AP, application processor, chip market share in the 2021 quarter. Data show that in the first quarter of 2021, MediaTek once again became the global smartphone chip market leader with a market share of 35%, with shipments increasing by 11% year-on-year, and progress opened the gap with Qualcomm. In fact, starting from the second half of 2020, that is, after the limitation of Huawei's chips, MediaTek's market performance has been very eye-catching. It has ranked first in the global mobile phone chip market for 4 consecutive quarters, leaving Qualcomm behind. And in August revenue of 42.808 billion new Taiwan dollars increased by 6.1% month-on-month and 30.9% year-on-year. MediaTek's revenue in September was 47.91 billion Taiwan dollars, approximately 10.995 billion yuan, an increase of approximately 11.9% from the 42.81 billion Taiwan dollars in August. It can be seen that in the past year or so, MediaTek has been gaining momentum, and Qualcomm has become increasingly unmatched. There has been a reconstitution in the global semiconductor market over the past year, as the US chip ban on Huawei has disrupted market rule in the sector, and buyers are not buying purely based on product technology or quality, but will strive to avoid dependence on a single firm. Chinese smartphone producers such as Oppo, Vivo and Xiaomi, taking lessons from Huawei's experiences, are among those who most strongly felt the urgency of diversifying purchasing sources, and will especially avoid being too dependent on a single US firm. From 2019 to the present, MediaTek has made frequent efforts in the 5G chip market. It has launched the Dimensity 1000 series, Dimensity 800 series, and Dimensity 700 series products, covering 5G chipsets from entry-level to flagship-level positions. The complete product matrix helped MediaTek better lay out the low-end 5G chip market, and Qualcomm's response was relatively slow, causing MediaTek to surpass Qualcomm to become the largest mobile phone chip manufacturer in a short time. Entering 2021, Qualcomm began to continue to block MediaTek's offensive trend in the mid-range market, and successively launched a number of low and mid-range chips such as Snapdragon 780G, Snapdragon 765G, Snapdragon 765, and Snapdragon 860, accelerating its deployment in the mid to low-end market. But unfortunately, Qualcomm has not been welcomed by terminal manufacturers in the low-end market. Most brands of low-end and mid-end models still choose MediaTek chips, such as Xiaomi's Redmi series, the latest Note 10 series 1000 yuan machine, which is equipped with MediaTek Dimensity 700 and Dimensity 1100 chips, which are explosive series products with shipments of tens of millions. Choosing the MediaTek platform is a big blow to Qualcomm. However, It is precisely because of this that MediaTek's price-performance ratio has also brought a lot of orders, because Android phone manufacturers mainly rely on mid to low-end models to ship, and it is precisely that many mobile phone manufacturers have begun to use MediaTek's chip processors more and more. Also boosted MediaTek's position as the world's #1 processor share. MediaTek must go the road of high-end. The competition for low-end mobile phone chips has entered a fierce stage, with Qualcomm and MediaTek, followed by Samsung, Zhejiang Huawei, and Zhejiang Zhongrui. Vivo has already cooperated with Samsung to develop chips, and Oppo has begun self-developed chips. Although Huawei is sanctioned by the United States, research and development has never stopped. After the domestic problem of chip production is solved, Huawei chips will be a force that cannot be ignored. All in all, Qualcomm's current most advanced technology is 4 nanometers. Although Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 has serious heat problems, it still has excellent performance. The domestic high-end flagship phones also choose this chip. MediaTek also has enough self-knowledge and knows it well. The current technical strength is not as good as Qualcomm, and it has avoided frontal competition through dimensionality reduction attacks. The chip market continues to usher in a reshuffle, and chip suppliers MediaTek has to add to the high-end flagship market. It is worth mentioning that the domestic chip design company Zhejiang Zhongrui's 6 nanometers chip is also ready for mass production. When the time comes, mobile phone manufacturers have more choices. Whether Qualcomm can return to its peak in the future and whether MediaTek can maintain the lead, let us wait and see. Thanks for your watching. In today's video, we have introduced the Chinese chip giant MediaTek surpassed Qualcomm and analyzed the data and the reasons behind it. So, what do you think of MediaTek? And do you think MediaTek continues to take on Qualcomm and lead? You can put your opinions and ideas in the comments below, so that we can have a further discussion about today's topic. Thanks for watching our video. If you love our videos, please share them with your friends.